Hello, everybody. Welcome to Running Code, Humor in South Texas Law Enforcement. I am T-Bone, your host, along with my partner, J-Man, as always. J-Man, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Busy?
Of course.
I see you have the same amount of holes as you did last time I saw you, so that's good.
Yep.
No additions. I like that. So, we appreciate everybody's patience. It's been hard to get these episodes done. We're on opposite schedules, so that has been really hard to connect. And, we do this for fun. It's not a job, so we do this as we can. So we do appreciate your patience and your views. Whoever's listening to Russia, appreciate it. We have a new listener in Russia. I noticed that. Like, all right, that's cool. Maybe they can tell their cops to kind of bring it down a notch.
Probably not.
I've been to Russia, and let me tell you, their cops, if people think our cops are brutal, they don't know anything about, Eastern European cops. So we appreciate all the listeners. We're in like 80-something countries.
Pretty good.
And I
Not
think
bad.
last count was like 400 cities in the U.S. So, and climbing. Obviously, the biggest ones being in this area. Houston's got a lot. Austin's got a lot. Dallas has a lot. But we also got surprise listeners. San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York has several. Chicago has quite a few. So I'm kind of encouraged by that. And like I talked about, we're going to be doing other things. We're trying to figure out how to do it live.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of calling it Code 3 Live. What do you think?
Oh, that's actually good.
Yeah. So we
Yeah,
can
I like
trademark
that.
that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we got Running Code and we got Code 3 live.
Yep.
So
TM on that.
yeah, I like that. Trademark that. Trademarked. And we'll have a custom thing made on the wall.
Yeah.
But those are down the road as we figure this out because we don't make any profit off this. And so we're doing this out of our own pocket. So it's a lot harder when you don't have money. But we'll make it work. We made this work and we're figuring it out. We're not quite getting the audience we want. But we're working on doing that. There's companies that'll help us, but they want money, of course, because nothing in life is free.
True.
Not even death. Someone's paying for it. So, but we appreciate your watching and, spread the word. Tell your friends they want something funny to listen to or even educational. And as far as education goes, today we're going to talk about equipment.
Yeah. And malfunctions
And malfunctions on equipment.
Because that's funny, when it's...
It's funny until it bites you.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I even brought my duty belt as just an example. So I will show you guys my setup. And, when we talk about equipment, it's a way, not the way. We're not telling anybody this is how you have to do it. My equipment is set up by trial and error. I learned what works best and what works best for me. But to me, it's a common sense setup, and I'll explain why as I go. Everything from your vest, the type of belt you wear, the type of duty belt you wear, the equipment you wear, footwear you wear, all very important things. Because you have to invest in yourself in this job. This is not, most agencies aren't like state police where they issue everything to you. Even DPS here issues everything except boots. Those you got to buy on your own.
Yeah.
But they issue the duty belt because they like that patent leather, bright, shiny shit, which I don't like. You land on it once, it's done. It's just scratched all the shit. But then you just go to DPS and get another one. So state agencies usually issue everything to you.
Yeah.
Most municipal agencies don't. I know LAPD issues everything to you too. I do know that.
That makes sense, yeah.
Maybe, and probably NYPD and probably Chicago PD for the most part probably issue everything. But most agencies don't issue you everything.
Some agencies issue you nothing.
Some agencies, not even your own weepon.
Yeah.
Although that's starting to change now. Most agencies are realizing that's a liability to let people have their own guns because they put these competition triggers on them. And like, if they get into a shooting, righteous shooting all day long, but the defense lawyer goes, they had a 1.5 pound competition trigger on that gun, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with the situation. So most agencies got smart and they issue weapons from their agency. Like, nah, you're not bringing your own gun. You're not running a staccato with a red dot sight and 1.5 inches or a 1.5 pound comp trigger with fluted barrel. We're not doing all that, suppressor. No, we're not doing that. So, but whatever equipment you're going to wear, you have to invest in yourself. And if you buy cheap, the old saying, good ain't cheap and cheap ain't good. You buy cheap equipment, it's going to fail you.
Yeah.
It's absolutely going to fail you. If you buy really good equipment, you have to work hard to get it to fail. So that's why when you buy a duty belt or you buy whatever holster style you want, anything, you have to bear in mind it's not supposed to look flashy. It's not supposed to look cool. That's not his job. His job is to be functional because this is work equipment, stuff you're going to need that eventually could save your life. It's a tool belt. Think of it as a bat belt. You got all your tools right here at your waist. How you set it up is user preference, but you got to be smart about it. How can I reach this in a fight? Can I reach this in a fight?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show my duty belt and how I've got it set up to show people that's how I do it. Now, again, that's my way, not the way. That's just the way I do it. Doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's right. That's just what works for me and what I've found to be the most advantageous to me in a bad situation. Plus, you need to have full cognizance of what's on your belt, where it's at, able to reach it without thinking about it, and able to deploy anything on that belt without thinking about it. You have to look down. Never look down when you're fighting with somebody, you're up close with somebody. Looking away and looking down at your belt is really a bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
You want to keep your eyes on him or her. So practicing what's on your belt and where it's at, where you can reach it without even thinking about it. It's a muscle memory, will only be a good thing. It'll save your life instead of costing you your life or getting you seriously hurt because you're fumbling and you don't practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should draw out of your holster 1,000 times and draw and put it away. And don't just draw it and put it away. Draw and put it away. Draw it, get a sight picture. Let me back up. Please unload this weapon. There's legions of stories about that with law enforcement. Unload the weapon. Drop the magazine first. Lock the chamber back. Drop out that extra shell and visually check it. Do not start doing draw drills with a live weapon. You will punch a hole through your wall, and if you're lucky, it won't hit anybody.
Yeah.
You're lucky, it'll hit the neighbor. And now you're an ex-officer because now you have a deadly conduct charge at a minimum.
Yep.
So please don't do that. So let me specify. When you're practicing this stuff, take the cartridges out of your taser. Take the ammunition out of your weapon. Be smart. But when you draw, it needs to be a muscle memory. You're not going to draw your weapon halfway and then put it back. Draw your weapon because that becomes a muscle memory.
Yeah.
You leave a training scar. Draw your weapon. Take a good stance, draw your weapon, and get a good sight picture, and practice that, getting that good sight picture, whether it's a red dot sight or your old-fashioned iron sights. Get your good grip, your good posture, and your good sight, and then holster the weapon. That way you get used to that one fluid motion to where you don't even think about it. You can unlock those locks without even thinking about it and get that weapon out because most holsters are level 3 retention. You have the passive lock, then you have a thumb lock, and then you have another thumb lock, or you have a finger lock and then a thumb lock. Whatever it does, keep that weapon in that holster. Yeah. You need to be able to fluidly remove that weapon without fumbling and jerking on it, and you're panicking and can't get it out. Practice, 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 practice. Again, unloaded, please. Your taser. Take the cartridges out of that, or you're going to be writing paperwork to get another cartridge and explain why you're missing a cartridge. Going to be funny as hell if I was practicing and accidentally fired it into the wall. As long as you didn't hit your dog or your wife. And for those that wear taser know that everything you do on this taser is recorded. So you can't just get away with wrapping it off like the old school tasers. When they first came out, you could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not no more. That's all recorded onto your Axon account. You have no access to change anything. You can see it, but you ain't changing it. So... But, the older cops, the older generations, they had a revolver, maybe a speed loader, and a flashlight and a nightstick. And sometimes that flashlight doubled as a nightstick. Get the old school 5D cell mag. It was, that's what they call them, old nightstick, Flashlight Joe or Nightstick Joe, the old hickory batons. That's it. And, of course, cuffs.
Yeah.
They didn't have all the tools we have now. Tourniquets, tasers, OC spray, which I don't even carry OC because I hate OC. I won't use it, don't like it.
OC is good. Good crowd control.
Yeah. Great when you fire it and the wind changes and then you catch a face full. So I'm not a fan of OC. It works here on dogs. I don't carry it. I don't need it. I have my taser, my baton, and my hands. I don't need, and I got knives hidden on my belt for emergencies. If I'm trying to fight for my weapon, I can hold onto my weapon and pull a knife from either hand if I need to. And so that's a deadly force situation to try and take your weapon from you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the only thing on the back of your belt, honestly, should be your handcuffs. And it's not a bad idea if you can get them up front, too. If you have that kind of waist space, like if you got a 40-inch waist, great, you can get your handcuffs in the front. That's why you're starting to see the overcarriers starting to get more popular where they're putting everything up on the overcarriers. Handcuffs up here is your workspace. This is your workspace. Yeah. You really don't want to reach behind you if you don't have a choice. Yeah. You kind of want it up here. But there is such thing as too much. So you got to balance. You got to kind of balance that. I've seen people with taser, baton, flashlight, handcuff. I was like, dude, you got everything. You're sticking out this far. Like, you got everything right here. Not saying that's wrong. If it works for you, it works. But everything, and then the only thing they have on their belt down here might just be their sidearm. Yeah. And okay, that's fine. If that works for you, great. Not saying it's a bad thing. But I have seen some horrid setups, and I'm looking at them going, how would you get that out in a hurry if you need to? And one very specific one that bothers me is the baton. And we'll talk about the baton.
Mm-hmm.
It's fallen out of use, especially since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But I have used it in the line of duty, but I'm also an ASP instructor.
Yeah.
I'm actually an ASP certified instructor. So I know how to use it, and I know how to correctly use it. I know how to articulate why I used it and how I used it. That doesn't mean lie, just articulate why I felt it necessary to use a baton versus my fists. But if you can use a taser, you can use a baton. If you could justify use of a taser, you could justify the use of a baton or OC spray. They're all intermediate weapons.
Right.
They're not non-lethal weapons. They're less than lethal weapons because you can still kill somebody with a baton. You can still kill somebody with a taser. Now, the taser by itself is not what's causing the death. And that's where everybody winds up about. But it's not the taser that caused the death. They were already having ED, excited delirium, where their body temp's 108 and their heart rate's 250. I mean, that's nothing to do with the taser. That's the drug they're on or a mental health crisis they're going through. It's just they tased them, trying to make the least amount of force necessary to get them safely into custody, and then they die, and they want to blame the taser. It's not the taser.
Mm-hmm.
You can be fired. You could have a taser fired on you. You got a pacemaker, and you'd be fine. We had it. Remember our trainer? He had a pacemaker, and he got shot with the taser a million times. He was fine. It's not that kind of. It's not joules. It's not amps. It's volts.
Right.
So a lightning strike is 1,000,000 volts. People will survive lightning strikes. A taser is 50,000 volts.
Mm-hmm.
It's very painful, and it's the longest 5 seconds of your life. I've been tased 4 times. It's the longest 5 seconds of your life. But we've had diabetics, epileptics, pacemakers, heart conditions, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Because it's not amps and it's not joules. It's volts.
Yeah.
So it just locks up your muscles, NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation. I'm sure you remember that phrase.
I sure do.
It just locks them up. Now, you're not rigid. You can move their arms, no problem. They just can't move their arms. So it's called cuffing under current.
Yeah.
If this helps if you have someone with you. Hey, as soon as I fire, get them under hand, get the cuffs on them. So while they're laying there, get them cuffed. Now, people are worried about the wires biting them. Most of the wires are coated, so that's very rare you're actually going to get bit. And if you do, it's going to be just a minor bite, not enough to stop you. Just get them cuffed. Mm. You'll be fine. It's a brush, not an NMI. So it's like a hitting a hot wire.
Yeah.
So just get them cuffed. That way, as soon as the current comes off, they're under custody and it's done. No one's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Call EMS, get them checked out, and get them to the hospital. Yeah. You're done. No fuss, no muss, no broken bones on anybody unless they fall on their face. So today, J-Man and I are going to talk about good ways to set up a belt, equipment malfunctions we've seen, things you should have on your belt that maybe you haven't thought about, things you have on your belt that maybe you don't need that are just taking up space.
Yeah.
That's not a good
thing.
thing.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Weight.
Oh, yeah.
You're adding weight.
Mm-hmm.
You're also adding another item on your belt you have to think about. So there's fine muscle memory or fine muscle control, and there's large muscle control. So fine is like being able to manipulate a key, taking a key off a key ring. That's a fine muscle control. Try and do that under adrenaline. That's not going to happen. But you have your large muscle. That's pulling a firearm, pulling a taser, pulling a baton. Those are large muscle groups. They don't require fine muscle control to use them. Now, pulling the trigger requires a little more fine muscle control, but pulling the weapon doesn't. Mm-hmm. So that's why you got to practice so much that it becomes second nature when you think about it.
Right.
You pull and it's smooth and you can get on target before he gets on target with you. And maybe if you beat him to the punch, he may change his mind, drop that weapon. No one's ever won a gunfight when someone already had a gun out on him.
Right.
So you have to practice this. Drawing a taser. Drawing both is a sketchy maneuver. I'm not saying it can't be done.
I've seen it.
But you have to now think, okay, if I have my taser in Sul, which you all know Sul means, pointing down, and then you have your weapon out and you want to transition, you have to think about that. And I've seen it where someone pulled the trigger on their firearm while holding the taser out here. That's a dangerous maneuver. Can you do it? You can. Is it dangerous? Very. So that's why it's best, if you're going to use a taser, have someone with you for lethal cover.
Some departments, they have a policy that forbids you for doing that.
Yeah. If you pull one, you will not pull the other.
Yep.
And that's good practice. There was that very famous video that female officer, and I can't remember where it was, she thought she pulled her gun, or she thought she pulled her taser, and she ended up shooting the guy.
Yeah.
Total accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why that happened. She had her taser draw at the same hand as her firearm.
Yep.
That's why I do not have my taser as the same hand as my gun.
Supposed to be
and it's supposed to be
off draw.
It's supposed to be off. It's supposed to be offhand. Yeah. So either across from this side, if you're right-handed, it'd be from this side from your left, or in your left here. where you can get it out without having to use this hand where you can't even pull it with that hand.
Yeah.
So you just keep this hand for your baton and this hand for your firearm. Your left hand for your taser and whatever else, handcuffs, stuff like that. And if you set it up like that, you're setting yourself up for success, not for catastrophic failure that puts you on your agency on the news.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's start with the funny equipment malfunctions. I've seen them. I've had them. You've had them. This is how you learn. Like, okay, that doesn't work. Back to the drawing board. Okay, that turned out to be a crap holster. Okay, get rid of that. So take it away with some equipment malfunctions I know you've seen.
Like, instead of like handcuffs, like handcuff pouches. There are some that just look cool. Like, you got asp handcuffs that have the button. The pouches that have the button where you just sit them in there, have the base on the bottom, have the little button, press, and they come off. Then I remember should I stay away from saying brand names? Yeah. I would stay away from saying
If they're common law enforcement brands, go ahead.
Okay, AccuMode.
Oh, AccuMode,
I do not like AccuMode. I don't like the nylon, and I don't like the leather. Mainly because when you sit the cuffs in there, the whole point is that it's supposed to be like a super tight stitched mold that hold the cuffs in there. But what ends up happening once the stitching starts to wear out, or you kind of brush up against something that's pretty rigid, like maybe a brick wall, if you're not paying attention, well, your cuffs go flying out. And you go and look and go, all right, I got them. We got them under control. You go to... Where my cuffs at, man? 10 feet behind you. Hey, man, let me borrow your cuffs real quick. Let me borrow your cuffs real quick. Hey, yeah.
That's where it comes in handy having a partner. Just reach behind him, pull his cuffs, whatever. Get him cuffed.
I like the handcuff pouches where it either has a button snap, like
like this.
Like they have a button, in the middle, in between.
Yep. Like this.
Yep. Just like that. That cover, it may look old school. It may not look, new and improved. But at least if you're chasing after somebody and the stitching is loose on your handcuffs,
that's why
they're not like 20 yards back after you ran after somebody.
That's why I don't like open top pouches like this. I see those all the time. What comes out in a foot chase? Your ammo.
I have one like that for the magazine pouch. I have one
that stays in there, and behind it is my little buddy.
I have one. It's just, that's handcuff pouches. Boots are also very important. You can have equipment malfunction with your boots. I mean,
oh yeah, I've seen them. They buy these flashy boots, but they're not made for that kind of work. They're not made for the kind of rigorous crap we put boots through. They're not. I mean, I buy quality boots, and I would still go through a pair of boots every 9 months or so, just because of what we put them through.
Oh yeah, and then there's the new improved thing is the boots that look like sneakers, or they're like designed for more breathability, so the foot's not hot. Which is
that's great,
important, and
but
South
you need
Texas.
A boot that supports your ankle. It gives you protection,
and it has a good sole,
a real good sole, good Vibram sole. Vibram is a brand name, but that thick sole, it's got good grip on it, but it's thick too because you're going to step on nails, you're going to step on glass, you really are. I've stepped on nails how many times. Like good boots, it stops before it penetrates your foot. So you want to get the ones with steel shank in the bottom. However, do not get steel toe boots.
Oh yeah,
you kick a suspect with a steel toe boot. Might as well call the FBI and make a reservation. So no steel toe boots, no safety toe boots, but a steel shank, yes, because you're going to step on nails. But you need something you can run in too. So you got to find that balance.
Yeah.
I like Solomons. That's what I wear. I wear Solomons. I wore them in the service, and I wear them in law enforcement. But there's nothing wrong with Bates. Under Armour makes a decent boot. Problem is the Under Armour doesn't stand up very long. It looks good, but it doesn't stand up very long.
Very cool.
It's a good quality boot, and it's got a good support system for your ankles because that's important. You'll roll your ankles chasing suspects.
Oh yeah.
Going over a fence, land wrong, and you're out of the game. And that sucks. He's gone. You're injured. So you got to find equipment that's tough but usable. So the breathability, you were right about that. That's a factor. Mm-hmm. They got to breathe. You're in these boots for 8 to 10 to 12-hour shifts or even longer.
Yeah. You're
directing traffic at a crash in the rain. You're going to get soaked. And you need to bring, obviously, we all have a war bag. You need to have extra boots extra socks. You really do need to have extra socks in those.
Yeah, that's true.
You need to have, if you can afford it and you can do it, maybe an extra pair of boots. If you finish that crash scene and you got 6 hours left in your shift, you really want to be sitting in wet boots, change your boots out. If you can do it, remember, you got to invest in yourself because at the end of the day, only you're going to take care of you. No one else is going to take care of you.
I remember we had like a flash flood here. And, I was driving around and a lady comes up to me and tells me there's a car like submerged in water. And I freaking look, and sure enough, there's the car. Not completely submerged, but half submerged. I don't know if there's a person in there or not. So what do I have to do?
You gotta wait out there.
Angle my car to block off that portion of the road, and then go, out in the wait in the water, pretty much. And I'm like, oh great, I'm glad there's nobody in here, but now I'm waist high in water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was able to go home after that.
Yeah,
my boots were ruined.
I bet.
$230 pair of boots.
Yep,
just gone. And I had to get my backups, my little $150 boots.
Yep. And that's the thing. Price doesn't always guarantee quality.
That's true.
I've seen that where they want to show off the latest and greatest and new, and it's $300, and you can get the same thing for half that price, and it's just as quality. So do read reviews from law enforcement. Read them. I do read the reviews from law enforcement. I want to know, how do they handle?
Yeah.
Hey, I had, if you start seeing they all say the same thing and it's good, great. If they all, man, it did this popped loose after a week, the stitching was coming out, may want to avoid that.
Yeah.
Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's quality.
Yep.
Now, yes, I did say earlier, good ain't cheap and cheap ain't good. But there is such a thing as you're buying a brand name, not necessarily quality.
Yeah. So
like Nike makes a great running shoe. I'm not sure I'd have that in a combat boot. Okay, it's not the same vein, Now, Under Armour does make a great running shoe. Their combat boots are okay. They're not the greatest. The soles do wear out pretty quick. The Velcro wears out pretty quick on them. Mm-hmm. But while they're working, they're great ankle support, and you can run in them. So it's a balance. It's a give and take. Salomons, they're expensive, but they're gonna last, and they're good quality. And I can run in those. I can run in the Salomons. I wear the low top Salomons. Yeah. So I can run in them if I have to, and they don't hurt my feet. And we all know that. Anybody who's seen End of Watch, footwear, comfortable footwear. You will stand around in these boots for hours. You really want to wear a comfortable pair of work boots, and you want to have good cushioned insoles. Yep. Trust me, when you're standing out there for 6 hours at a fatality, you're going to want comfortable shoes, because otherwise your feet are screaming by the end of that night. And nothing sucks worse than shitty footwear. By the time you get home, you can barely walk. Or you did a foot chase in a pair of shoes that weren't really made for that. They look cool, but they're not made for running. And now your feet are killing you, or you got shin splints, or your Achilles tendon is killing you. Eh? So you got to have the balance, but you have to invest, like I said earlier, in yourself. Your agency is not going to care. The agency's not going to care what equipment you have. Some agencies have rigs on it, some don't.
Yeah,
I know LAPD. You notice they all look the same. Their belts are set up the exact same. They have a standard, and they want everyone on that standard. But they do that uniformity for everybody to know where everyone's equipment's at. So if I need your ammo from you, you're down, I know where your ammo's at. I don't have to look for it. I know exactly where it's at. I can pull it. State police here all have the same belt set up. Yeah. But most municipal agencies and most county agencies, it's really user preference. Mm-hmm. Now, they may mandate certain things, like my agency says no basket weave. They want just the plain leather. Yeah. No patent leather, no basket weave. Yeah. Okay, so that's in the policy. But nothing says what kind of cuff cases I have to have, ammunition pouches I have to have, baton, holster. They just mandate our firearms holster because they're providing that. Yeah. Because they had it specially made for the weapons that we have. Right. So I think there should be some uniformity, but I think they're worried about doing that. You're going to force people to wear something that doesn't work for them. Mm-hmm. So you got to find something that works for you. And I'm going to go here a little bit again. Remind me, I will go over the baton and why that is so important. And I know people write the baton off because they teach, in most agencies now, they teach 4 basic baton strikes. Mm-hmm. Downward, upward, side to side. That's it. They don't teach the come-alongs and the holds you can do with it and the compliance holds, how to get someone out of a car with a baton. Yeah. They don't teach that. So people are leery about using it, and they don't want to be the next officer who's caught on camera hitting somebody with a baton, and it looks bad. Right. So, but there's nothing wrong with a baton if it's used correctly. As long as you can articulate it, write it up, and justify it, you will be fine. It's a tool like any other tool. Use the right tool for the right job. Mm-hmm. Okay? We don't clonk people on the head with the damn thing. That is not what its use is for. It's 45-degree downward strikes. We'll get into that. Yeah, I'll get into that. And that's my bailiwick as an ASP instructor. And I went to that school. Let me tell you, I couldn't move my arm for like a week. I could not. Any of our watchers gone through ASP instructor school? You will not use your arm for a week. Your right arm or your lefty will be dead. It just hung for the next week. If I had to draw a gun, I was fucked. But muscle memory. They want so many swings, it becomes a muscle memory that you don't even have to think about it when you draw it and you deploy it. You're not thinking about it. That's one less thing you got to think about is how do I need to strike? Right. So many repetitions that it just becomes a second nature. and then you put it away, put it behind your knee if you have to. I like the auto locks. I can close it without, having to get down on one knee and smack it on the pavement. So I'm not getting my face anywhere near them.
Yeah.
I can just put it right in the holster and close it right up without ever. And if I need to pull it, I can step back and pull it again if I need to. So that's why I don't like the friction locks where you got to bang them off the pavement to collapse them. I like that auto lock. You can put it right against your gear and just push the button and just collapse it and drop it in your holster. You can drop it in your holster and just collapse it right in. But it's muscle memory. It's training. You got to practice on that. And you should. Make sure if you're practicing in your bedroom with a baton, get away from the ceiling fan. Not saying I did it. I'm just saying it was messy. Shattered it because I stepped back and drew it. Whap! I was a rookie, and I was like, I'm a practice assistant. Shatter. Oh, that sounds expensive. Lessons I learned. I pass them on as free gifts to you. Laugh at me, but learn from my mistake, please. So have space around you when you do this. Make sure your wife's not standing behind you on accident. You reach back and crack her in the face with it. Because then, she's got a big old black eye or busted teeth, and now you look like an abusive a-hole. Yeah. So make sure you do this in safe places designed for this, okay? Don't just do it in your bedroom and shatter a ceiling fan or hit your TV on accident or draw practicing and fire a hole through your TV or in your mirror in your bathroom. Please don't do that. So, again, it's funny and we laugh, but it does happen. Yeah. So I'd rather I embarrass myself by telling you what I did. I didn't actually do the fire around thing. That I've not done. So, but you learn from my mistakes. And you think next time you go do this, whoa, I remember T-Bone talking about unload this weapon. And then sure as hell, you forgot to unload it. Okay. And then it's just safety. And you don't have to write reports to your agency. Internal affairs ain't getting involved. You're not having to call 911 and get a supervisor out to your place because you screwed up and fired a round through your wall in the neighbor's house. And now they're wanting to press charges for deadly conduct, and accidental or not, doesn't matter. Yeah. You still negligently discharged a firearm playing with it. Yep. So the only thing more dangerous than a loaded gun is an unloaded gun. Because there's no such thing as an unloaded gun. Right. Until you have personally cleared it and made damn sure. So whenever I unload it, I got the full mag and I had the extra round right there, and then I still clear the chamber, and that's just muscle memory. Yeah. Because I will not be that guy. And our agencies had a few. Yeah. That have done that. Putting them in, they unload them at the end of their shift. Why? I don't know. But okay. Fine. And they keep fingering on the trigger and rack it. Bang! It's like, really? What are you doing? But that's unfamiliarity with your weapon system. Yeah. You're not practicing with it. Yeah. You're not training with it. You do your annual qualification and say, I'm good. You're not. That's the basics. It's up to you now to buy ammo. It sucks. And some agencies have the budget where you can go out to the range anytime you need to. Oh, yeah. And do proficiency, but some don't. Mm-hmm. But buy 1,000 rounds of cheap 9mm or 40 caliber and practice on your own. Practice draw drills. Go out to a range that allows that and practice that using your duty gear. This is what I see a lot of. They practice with their off-duty holster. But that's not what you're carrying on duty in blues. Now, I'm not talking about the ones who are undercovers or detectives. I'm talking about the ones that wear a full duty belt on duty. Mm-hmm. They don't practice with that holster. They practice with their off-duty carry holster, which may be level 1 or level 2 retention only. Yeah, but then they get the real belt and they reach here. Oh, shit, that's here because of that muscle memory. Mm-hmm. No, so, that's true. Yep. Muscle memory, again, take your duty belt with you to the range. Take the taser off, take the baton off, take all this stuff off, but take the belt itself and practice with that belt. Get that feel, that natural flow of safely drawing that firearm without firing off round. I would do a few draws without ammo in it first to make that constantly retraining and keep your finger out of the trigger until you're coming online. Because I've seen people pull their weapon and they already got their finger in the trigger as they're pointing it down, which means a good shot of shooting themselves in the leg or shooting themselves in the foot or shooting their partner next to them. That has happened. I don't know how many times that's happened on ranges across the United States with cops. And these are trained cops. And everyone wants to think a cop is a Doc Holliday with a gun. And nothing could be further from the truth. It's sad, but ammo's only gotten more expensive.
It's probably a very, very negative way of thinking. But I know you line up on the range, depending on how many people. Oh. You kind of look at the shaky individual, and you're like, well, how many bodies do I have? Yes. Like in between me and that individual down there. I was like, I got 8. I'm good.
I stand at the farthest end of the line. That way there's a lot of soft, squishy people between me and that dude. I'm always at the far end. That way, all I got to worry about really is the guy next to me.
And this is no shots, no slights at
you're not throwing anybody
in these current positions, but Man, like the people at
When
the,
admin come out?
the 20 to 30 year deputy sheriff, police officer, trooper, whatever, and you're at some like cushy Gucci position where you don't even draw that thing. There's like cobwebs. Like, like
there's a spider web in his holster.
yeah, like
Charlotte's
come on,
Web in his holster.
I'm staying away from you. Like, I'm staying away from you, straight up. Like, no offense, no offense.
And you know who the most careless are with guns I've seen? SWAT.
Well, because they're supposed to be the cowboys.
Yeah, and
They're the Doc Hollidays.
And that with ego comes complacency.
I don't know. I figure every SWAT operator would be like a damn near Tom Clancy with a firearm.
You would think, but I think it's one of those. I'm SWAT, so I automatically know what I'm doing because I've been through all this training. Well, that's great, but training is continuous. Training starts and never ends. If that were true, you never need in-service. You would never need annual qualification. You would never need annual Evo. You would never need any of that because, hey, I was trained once and I'm good. But unfortunately, the human body doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. And practice. Like surgeons, they wouldn't do one surgery and declare they're good forever. I don't need to ever do another surgery. I'm perfect. They constantly have to perform surgery.
Right.
So it's like anything else. And these tools are your life. These could very well be the difference between life and death for you, is the tool belts that you're wearing. And if you don't practice with it and you don't make sure you're wearing quality gear and you know how to reach it in a crappy situation with either hand, you could be headed for the grave.
That's true.
And it's sad, but it's true. And if you don't practice with this, that could be the end.
Taking too long to even to pop your handcuffs and handcuff a subject.
Yes, but remember, we don't cuff though until they're under control. How many videos have you seen where they're trying to cuff the guy who's still swinging on them?
Yeah, it's
no, get him under control first, then cuff him. You get that arm locked out, and then give me your other arm. Cuff that one first, because that's one you don't have control over, and then cuff the one you have control over.
And then you got a combative subject.
You're good.
Swinging.
Now you got him. Yeah, now he's swinging a metal cuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's not nothing to still be cuffed with this hand, and they have enough.
If this is still cuffed on his wrist, they're swinging. Yeah. What are they swinging?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Catch you in the eye.
Yeah.
That catch you in the damn eye.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. If you don't lose an eye, you might get lucky. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you don't ever try to cuff someone who is still fighting you. You control them, then cuff.
Yep.
Preferably with two.
Yep.
Two people, not two cuffs. Although some people are here big enough, we use two pairs of cuffs. There's a right way and a wrong way to cuff somebody with two cuffs, too. Mm-hmm. I've seen the lazy way, and I've seen the correct way. The lazy way is you just take two cuffs like this in the center. You lock them like this. So, yeah, they got two cuffs, but you're shortening their pull.
Okay.
So, and I've seen that. It's a pain. You got to get them through just right and locked. That's fine. I actually had a guy big enough I had to use three pairs. Damn. I didn't have any leg irons on me. Otherwise, I'd use leg irons. That's how big he was. I was like, good God. One wasn't going to do it. Luckily, he was compliant. Luckily, he was calm. Because there's no way I'd have got him in three pairs of handcuffs. So, but he was big enough, shoulders so wide, that he had to turn sideways to walk through a door that I had to use three pairs of cuffs. And he was very calm, and he's like, sir, can you use three pairs? Yeah, man, I'll use three. As fast as I could just to get him on. And then I, prettied him up. It just get the cuffs on first in case this guy changed his mind. This guy was a monster. He'd have tent pegged me. I'd look like a Looney Tune just being tent pegged into the crowd. Equipment malfunctions. I've seen holsters fall off foot pursuits because they have those quick disconnects.
Oh, the ones where you can just you know how crazy that is. You go to finally the foot chase is done. Typically it's common for law enforcement to draw on the individual with the foot chase, and you go there and your whole holster's gone, and you're hoping nobody picked it up and ran off with it. If you're in a not so nice area of town, because in a newsflash, civilians, they will steal your gear if it falls off. If it falls off, they will steal the shit out of it.
100%. And you come back, there's the holster maybe.
yeah.
But the gun's gone. And now your issued weapon, which is owned by your agency, is gone. If they kill somebody with it, they will be suing your agency because you lost your gear. That's why you have to go through and check your gear. Check the screws, check the retention, make sure that nothing's come loose.
Yep.
People get so lazy, you'll see their whole holster shaking. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, you might want to tighten up the screws on your holster. Like, what? Look at that thing, dude. It rattles.
Put some of the, was it the anti-seize? Oh, no, not anti-seize.
You're talking about thread locker.
Thread locker.
little blue thread lock.
Yep.
Put it in.
It won't hurt for all the parts that require
practice until you find what's comfortable for you and what is practical and safe. None of this stuff should move freely on your belt. It should be pretty solid on you because it'll be secure. And the looser it gets, over time, starts working those screws out. Mm-hmm. That's just mechanics 101. the looser it is, the more it starts working things out.
Yeah.
You're getting in and out of cars, in and out of cars, in and cars, picking it off, putting it on, taking the weapon out of the holster at the jail, putting it back in, forgetting to put your weapon back in your holster and driving off, and now you're... I did that once.
I've done that before, too.
I did it once, too.
Yeah, I've done that before, too. You're like,
I had booked
I
him.
gotta go back.
Yep. I stopped using the lockers at the jail and started just throwing it in my lockbox in the back of my Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I left it locked in there, came out, hopped in the Tahoe, drove off, traffic stop, walked up to the car, realized I didn't have a weapon or ammunition or a knife. And I was like, you're free to go, have a great day. Woo, flipped around, put myself out of service, hauled ass back to the jail. You know? So I was like, whoops. So I've done it.
Yeah.
I have done it. And there's no shame in that. I learned, didn't do it again. That's how you learn. You make mistakes. Hopefully you live through your mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the learning curve is a little too high and you may not live through that mistake. But if you're lucky, you'll live through that mistake. I've seen batons fall out in foot pursuits.
Yeah.
OC spray fall out, ammunition fall out, cell phones come out of your pocket, body camera falls off.
Yeah.
Now that one, it depends on what kind of holster you got for the body camera. If you have the magnet, that's probably going to come off at some point. But if you get that new one that crimps the fabric through your clothing,
yeah,
great, but it starts tearing up your clothing right there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a trade-off.
Yeah.
But the biggest one is obviously not your camera, it's this belt. Because these are the tools that save your life. The camera just records your death. Mm-hmm. These are the tools that save your life.
Yeah.
But so now I do want to discuss the baton thing. Everybody's probably going, why does he keep knocking on this? Why does he keep knocking on this? Where do most officers put their baton?
Usually it's behind the gun.
Behind their gun. Let me tell you why that's a bad idea. And having gone through the Aspen instructor course, and they hammered this on us for the whole week we were there, and I've never put it back behind me since, is if you're going to deploy that baton, you have to lean forward. You're leaning closer to the guy, and you have to pull it out. Then you have to bring your arm down to deploy it and snap it up or snap it down to open it.
All right.
So that's all those extra moves. You should have it right here in a cross draw to where when you're in interview position, for all of us law enforcement know what interview position is, your hands are in front of you. It just looks like you're casual, but you're anything but. Your hands are near your belt. Your right hand, or left if you're a lefty, is right on top of that baton. And you just look like you're chatting with the person. In reality, you're holding it. You can step back and deploy it in one shot.
Oh,
you don't have to lean forward and try to pull it from behind your back. You just step back and snap it up. And it's like the grizzly bear concept. You want to make yourself look giant to a bear. That's what you're doing. If you step back and snap this thing out, you look 10 feet tall all of a sudden. You know, and that really helps. But you do not want to lean closer to your subject. You want to gain distance while pulling that baton out as a warning. This is their final warning. When you snap that thing out, it's ready to deploy. That's their last and final warning. But if you have to lean forward and pull it from behind your belt, behind where it is in your gun, you're leaning closer, typically forward like this, near their foot. Not a great place to be.
Yeah.
You need to have it here.
Yeah.
You know, taser, I've seen the cross draws like this, and doesn't say you can't do both. You're casual like this. You have access to two less than lethal intermediate weapons like this. And you're just in interview position. You don't look threatening. You're not standing there with your gun in your holster. You're just standing like this. But what they don't realize is because you're right near your baton if you need it, or you're right near your taser. If you need it, just pull it.
Right.
So reaction time. You want to knock down the reaction time. But again, people are scared of batons because they've learned 4 basic strikes, probably a 4-hour baton class in your academy. And that was it because they don't encourage the use of it.
Yeah.
Why not? It's an effective tool. You don't obviously crack them in the head or the spine or the face or the groin. You know, you don't do that. That's not what these are for. Large muscle groups, biceps, forearms, thighs, fantastic places. When you do deploy a baton, you hit them as hard as you can in that first swing. If you give them a social hit, they may go, well, I didn't hurt that bad. And now you're fighting them. Mm-hmm. You give them the hardest hit. When you deploy it, you give it everything you got in that downward strike. You hit them as hard as you can in the bicep. Trust me, that's gonna have an immediate effect. Now, if they're high or they're drunk, it could be a toss up.
Yeah.
But if they're not, that's usually going to end at one shot. You hit them once and they're done. They go, okay, I'm done. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Now lay down on the ground, or you're getting another one. That probably end it. Probably gonna be done. Mm-hmm. But there's so many different strikes you can do with a baton. So everybody knows to deploy it like this, and they hold it like this. This is, by the way, called a human rights tip. Believe it or not, that's actually what it's called. This is the human rights tip.
That's the actual
That's the actual name
nomenclature
for it. It's the human rights tip. Yes, that's the nomenclature.
Huh.
So,
Alrighty then.
yeah, that's actually what it's called. Like,
Thank you, federal government.
yeah. We're here to save the day. So, this is what people think when they use a baton. Deploy it. It comes out of the holster. You snap it up. Obviously, didn't have the space here because I really don't want to hit the wall. See, people, that's why you don't do that. That was a visual demonstration. Hit our on-air sign. Yeah. But this is what people think of when they think of a baton being deployed.
Right.
I'll tell you right now, you can get just as effective out of this without deploying it. If you flip it over and you hit them right here in the collarbone, drag it down their chest, it's going to get their attention instantly.
Oh, God.
Trust me, you will not have to snap it out. Trust me, you flip it up and just hit them right here, right in the clavicle, and just drag it down their chest. Hurts like you wouldn't believe. They did it to us in instructor school to show us. And let me tell you something, I had a bruise from here to here when they were done. But it works. But they wanted you to know what it felt like so you could testify that I know exactly what it feels like. It's been done to me. Mm-hmm. So that's why we get tased.
Yeah.
You know the effects and you know how it feels. So you can say, I've been tased. I know exactly what it does. And I also know that as soon as the current's over, the current stops, you're fine.
Yeah.
You pop right back up. It's not like OC, which lasts and lasts and lasts. Tasers, done. Pop right up. And you just feel energized like you had 3 cups of coffee. I mean, you're just like, woo. All right. It's a wake me up.
In the world's most intense ab workout.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you, my abs actually hurt. And there was a girl in our class that actually had an orgasm while riding the Lightning. Yeah, we were all like, hit her again. And she laughed about it. Instead of being embarrassed, she laughed, which just made us like her more. She was tough. She wasn't a wilting flower, though. She wasn't a dainty girl. Like, she'd fight like a man. We had nothing but respect for her. She's a sergeant now. But, so there's open mode strikes. This is an open mode strike, obviously, because it's open.
Right.
This is a closed mode. You can use closed mode. You can push them back like this. You can use it as a fist load and punch them in the chest to push them back from you. It depends on what you want to use it for, how close you are to the subject. You may not have the ability to deploy it out into open mode, but if they're that close, you can pull it this close and hammer them in the chest with it, or hit them right here in the clavicle and back them off. And then that gives you time to deploy it out. Get it snapped out and be like, you're going to get another one. And that usually they realize you're not kidding. Can you articulate it? You sure can. You sure can. People are scared to have to articulate the use of a baton.
Yeah.
It's a tool like any other. Every agency is going to have a policy on it. But not a single agency says you may not use your baton. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's up to you to use it correctly, like any other tool. Your taser, your OC, your sidearm. There's a common sense how to use it and when to use it. Same as this. Nothing changes here. The reason why I like the auto locks is because I can do this. And I can close it up without having to lean forward, smack it on the ground to close it. I can keep an eye on my subject and close it if I need to. Because what do they teach you with the old schools is you go down to cuff them, put this behind your knee like this, while you're cuffing. If it gets froggy, step back and you've got your baton back in your hand. Well, that's still a loose piece of something. Someone come up behind you and take it from you.
Right.
So the way I've got it is I just put it right back in my holster. Just right here. And I go to what I do, and if I have to redeploy it, I can step back and pull it back out again. Mm-hmm. So that's why I recommend highly to any officer watching this, put this in the front of your gear. Put it in the front. You do not want to lean any closer to a suspect that's hostile than you have to. And leaning forward, pulling it out, then deploying it is an extra step you don't need.
Right.
That's 2 extra steps. Lean forward and pull it out instead of just one. Pull it out and snap it up.
Yeah.
Problem solved. You don't have to get closer to your suspect, and you want to gain that distance.
Yep, that's true.
I keep my flashlight right on top of that. So I can reach on my belt. I can reach my ammunition with either hand. I can reach my sidearm with my right hand only, because the way our holsters are set up, you're not going to get it out with your left hand. Mm. That's why I keep a secondary knife right here. Taser's right here. My baton's right here, where I can pull it with this hand if I need to as well. I can pull it right out and smack you with it if I needed to. I can. My tourniquet is available to me. That's behind my gun, but I can reach it with either hand. I've checked and made sure and tested it. I can reach it. All my gear is reachable with either hand except for my gun.
Yeah.
And I can't reach my taser. My right hand, I can't reach my gun with my left hand. That's just the nature of the business. I don't have the 50-inch real estate waist where I can put all that right here. Some people have that real estate.
I'm thinking about 2.
Start running more.
Thinking about 2.
Yeah, so gear is so important. Vest. I don't know how many times I've had to tell officers, wear your vest. What is wrong with you?
Comfortability.
Okay, yeah, I get Texas is hot and it's 108 degrees. But your sweat's not going to stop a bullet. Hydrate. It sucks to have to constantly wash your vest, Febreze your vest. I get it. That sucks. And it holds the heat in. You pull your vest back and 120 degrees hits you in the face. But it sure as hell beats a bullet.
Yeah.
So drink water. It's like in the military. For those of us who are watching this that were in the military, it could be 130 degrees. As long as you're drinking water, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. So hydrate. Don't drink these on a hot day. Don't drink energy drinks. Drink water or Gatorade. Electrolytes. Don't drink soda and don't drink. I know that's funny, but I'm not on duty. Okay, on duty I drink water. Mm-hmm. That's the safest thing for you. So vests, I've had to tell them, hey, yeah, vest, you need to wear a plate in there too. Like you have a level 3A vest, you need to put a level 4 plate in that. When
your sergeant's coming up behind you to pat you on the back for no reason, he's checking for a vest. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if any higher up is patting you on the back, we're like, hey man, hey, you got a strong chest right there. Where's your vest?
Yep. Yep. Oh, you think you're gonna stop a bullet? Got it. Okay. All right, tough man. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Well, if I need it, I'll put it on. That could be the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone ever say. That's like a seatbelt. Well, if I see the crash coming, I'll put the seatbelt on.
When the shooting starts, you reach in the back seat and you just deploy the vest like
you can hold it in front of you. So like a shield, like a mini shield.
And then you bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. That's like the seatbelt argument. I don't wear a seatbelt, but if I see the crash coming, I'll put it on. If you can see the crash coming, hit the brakes. Don't run into the car. So that argument doesn't wash. Wear your vest. Yes, equipment. Let's talk about seatbelts. Wear your effing seatbelt, guys. We're not immune to the laws of physics because we're cops. Mm-hmm. We're also not immune to state law. You got to wear your seatbelt, and some agencies will not cover you if you crash and you were not wearing your seatbelt.
You can tell somebody's not used to wearing it is when they get out for a foot chase, they get jammed up. They get jammed up in the seatbelt.
So that's a muscle memory, right? Like on the highway, I always wear my seatbelt. On main roads, I always wear my seatbelt. Let's say I light a car up. Right as the car starts stopping, that's when I pull my seatbelt off. But if he takes off, I can just put it right back on, and we're on. Chase is on.
Right.
In neighborhoods, I would take it off in neighborhoods. If I'm looking for a suspect, I'll take it off in the neighborhoods. That way I can bail out and hurry and go after him, or not let that cab be my coffin because I'm stuck in that seatbelt trying to avoid the hailstorm of bullets coming through my windshield. Mm-hmm. Other than that, wear your damn seatbelt because one, it'll save your life. We're not immune to the laws of physics, and two, a lot of agencies will not cover your injuries if you were not wearing a seatbelt because I guarantee your policy says you have to wear a seatbelt, and state law says you got to wear a seatbelt. And you weren't wearing a seatbelt on the highway, chasing a car at 90 miles an hour, and you weren't wearing a seatbelt. That's asinine. I wear my seatbelt, and it drives me nuts. And I have to tell other officers, "Hey, man, put your seatbelt on." Mm-hmm. Oh, it's in my gear. Okay, figure it out. But I'm not moving this car because, no, dude. Like, cops are more than likely going to crash than anyone else, and that's just because the amount of miles we drive a day, your odds go way up. You're going to get into a crash, whether it's your fault or not. The odds are not in your favor. You're going to get into a crash. Not wearing that seatbelt gets you killed at 20 miles an hour versus saving your life at 80. Mm-hmm. So wear your damn seatbelt, guys. Please, for the love of God, wear your fucking seatbelt. That is why it's there. We're not immune to laws of physics because we're cops. Yeah. We're still, car stops at 80, you keep going. And you meet B pillar or A pillar with your head. That's it. Squash grape. Mm-hmm. And it drives me nuts. Oh, I don't have to wear them. I'm a cop. Well, let's talk about that statement. One, you're enforcing the law. So how are you going to enforce seatbelt laws if you're not wearing one?
True.
Two, it'll get you killed because you get into a crash and weren't wearing it. Three, you're injured but alive. Your insurance company is not going to pay your medical bills because the agency denies it because you weren't wearing it, or they don't pay your life insurance to your next of kin because you weren't wearing it. Just like if you weren't wearing your vest and you get shot, your agency is not going to pay your medical bills because you were not wearing the required equipment as required by your agency's policy that they provided you.
Yeah.
So just wear this crap. Yeah, I know it's uncomfortable. You're wearing dark blue and it's South Texas. I get it. Trust me, I've been out there working a fatality for 7, 8, 9 hours in the 100+ degree heat wearing that vest. It sucks. Drink water. You should always have in your car equipment 2 gallons of water in your car. It may be warm, but you got water.
Yeah.
You should always have a medical bag with you. Now, I don't wear an IFAC. I don't have the waist real estate to put an IFAC on here as well. But I did have a medical bag in the front seat of my car. I could reach over and grab that medical bag in a hurry if I needed it. And I was familiar with everything that was inside it. Now, I'm not going to be performing field surgery, but I could at least provide first aid till EMS got there.
Yeah.
So that's part of equipment. A war bag should have gloves. You should always have gloves in your pockets.
Oh, yeah.
Don't touch people barehanded if you don't have a choice, and don't ever search a car barehanded. You have a choice on that one. There's no rush to search a car.
Yeah.
Put gloves on, please. You can get the rubber gloves. Recommend light blue so you can see blood.
Yeah.
Don't wear black. Light blue so that when you run your hands over somebody looking for an injury, you can see the blood.
Or that orange.
Or the orange.
Orange nitrile.
Whatever contrasts with red so that you can see the blood.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wear black because it's cool. You need to, if you're looking over your buddy, you were just in a shooting, I'll tell you right now, your adrenaline will mask gunshot wounds. You'll be so hopped up. I'm fine. I'm not hit. I'm good. And you're bleeding. So you have to check each other over. Military teaches this. Law enforcement teaches this. Check your buddy. When you run your hands down their body and up under their armor, you're bleeding somewhere, dude. How many to find it?
Yeah.
Okay, black, you may miss it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why another reason I don't like dark blue uniforms. Hides blood too easily. We should be wearing khaki or green, something that you can see the blood clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So gloves. You should also have a pair of leather search gloves.
Yeah.
Nice, thick leather search gloves. When you're searching a car, don't ever put your hand where your eyes haven't been first, or you'll find something one day, and then you get to do post-exposure treatments for the next 6 months. You find the needle that's uncapped. So don't search where your eyes haven't been first.
You don't want to use the cool baseball gloves?
Oh, no. I got those thick ass leather gloves.
The Dodgers World Series gloves?
Yeah, no, that's dumb. Dumb. And you can buy gloves that have the Kevlar inside them.
Yeah.
So, but again, you still don't stick your hand. Make it a good policy. Do not put your hand where your eyes have not been first. Mm-hmm. So look down between that seat. Actually pull the seat and look before you stick your hand down there between the seat. Because that's where they'll drop the needle. Right between the seat and the center console. Or the center console, they'll drop right in the center console. You open it up, stick your hand in, and now you have a heroin needle with their blood inside it sticking out of your hand. Now, the odds are low you're going to get anything, but they're not zero. Yeah. I'm not gambling with hepatitis or HIV. Oh, yeah. That's not a gamble I'm willing to take. So, not worth it. And I learned that in narcotics interdiction. I mean, I already knew it on patrol, but then narcotics interdiction, you search cars constantly. You learn real fast. And I would put on regular gloves, and then I would put on my search gloves over those. Mm-hmm. How many layers I could get. There's no such thing as too safe when you're searching someone's car or their body. That's why you don't ever stick their hands in your pockets. What do?
You crimp them.
I crimp them. Mm-hmm. I pat them and I crimp them. Before I ever just stick my hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, what are you doing, dude? And
then like something I think about too, if you feel like a needle, right? Just like kind of like inch it up is a good way.
Well, I'll ask them, and always ask them first. Hey, what is that? Oh, it's a needle. Now they can't say later, that's not my heroin. You just said it was your needle. You know what I mean? So it's twofold. One, tell them what it is, but two, catch them in their own bullshit before they start trying the lies. So it does have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
So a war bag should have pens. You should have a 10-pack of pens in that war bag. You should have a couple blank notebooks in that pad. You're going to need them. I always kept in my war bag, which is heavy and it sucked, but I kept my clipboard, gloves, drug test kits, scale, binoculars. Hey, those would come in damn handy.
Oh, they do. Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many times I use my binoculars, especially when I'm watching. I get a nice pair of Zeiss, a little pricey, but they were a gift, and I used them, and I still have them, and I'm never getting rid of them. The picture was so clear on those, but I could read license plates from 100 yards away, clear as a bell. Like, oh yeah, that's how I got a whole field full of stolen cars. I was able to read the license plate on one of the trucks, and it popped hot. And then we got out there, and like 25 of them were stolen. So I had the PC to get on the property. There was one stolen car. Yeah. Hey, there's all stolen. And I had to write my report because I did get asked by the defense attorney, how'd you read that plate? I have binoculars. And I broke no law. I can see it from the road.
Yeah.
I didn't enter the property. My eyes entered the property. I didn't enter the property.
It's view from the public.
View from the public.
View from the public, yeah.
And now I have PC to get on the property. So, but we still got a search warrant anyway.
Yeah.
But that was the PC on the search warrant. One of the vehicles is stolen. Confirmed stolen. Or reported stolen. Had confirmed, yeah, but it was stolen. And then we got out there and like 25 F-150s were stolen out there. Beautiful day. And they learned, though, after that, they took the license plates off all those trucks. So the next time I was out and saw those trucks, I'm like, son of a bitch. Not a single one had a plate on it. I know they're stolen. There's what I know, what I can prove.
Yeah.
So I called auto theft, and they're like, yeah, we know, but we can't see them.
That's a classic train day line.
Yep. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And that's true. That's true in anything else in the world.
Yeah.
I can know you're lying to me, but I can't prove you're lying to me.
Right.
So until I can prove it, it doesn't mean shit. It's circumstantial at best. And circumstantial doesn't win cases.
Nope.
So in that war bag, so have water, first aid kit, first aid bag. They make them. You can buy them already pre-set up.
Yeah, pre-set up.
Always add extra tourniquets. In my medical bag, I have 5. And what I did was I got with the pararescue training attachment here, and they have boxes of the tourniquets. When they expire, there's nothing wrong with them, but they don't use them anymore. They just throw them in a box. They gave me the box.
Are they soft tees or cat tees?
No, they're the cat tees.
Oh, okay. Those are nice. I like those.
Gave me a whole box of orange. Okay. One I carry in my belt's black, but in my bag I have 5 or 6 cat tee tourniquets.
Okay.
Not a problem. I have plenty for an active shooter. I got plenty of tourniquets. I can 4 on each person. And when they're really bleeding, put it around their neck and crank that thing down good and tight. They'll stop bleeding eventually. That is a joke. Let me specify
that's a joke.
Do not put a tourniquet around someone's neck and then tighten the windlass down. Don't do that. I'm sure somebody has done it somewhere. Hey, the bleeding stopped. Yeah, so did his heart.
Unless you want an early retirement.
A real early retirement.
go right ahead, I guess.
Yes, the bleeding stopped, but so did his heart. Or he got it off, now he's just gorked in the head. Now he's Officer Doofy. So, pre-end of the movie. So, but gloves, extra pair of socks, pens, notebooks, clipboard, drug test kits, scales. You can put this all in a bag. Yeah, it's heavy. Thumb drive. Get a good, solid thumb drive. Don't get a cheapo. Get a good, solid, like a Gorilla Drive. It's got that hard plastic. It's waterproof. Have a thumb drive. Put all your forms on it. Baby wipes. Oh, baby wipes. Abs baby wipes. Lysol wipes.
Oh, yeah.
Lysol wipes.
Good sanitizer or like disinfectant spray.
Before I had my own Tahoe, I used a patrol one. Those go 3 shifts a day, 7 days a week. I get into it. I wipe down the steering wheel, the CAD, the gear shift lever, the door handles, all that. I wipe them down with Lysol. And then, as a rule, you check the back seat before you take that car out because people leave guns and drugs in the back seat or knives or whatever. And then now your next suspect finds it in the back seat, or you pull him out of the car and go, "Oh, cocaine." He's like, "I didn't drop that." Sure, you didn't. When he really didn't drop it.
Yeah.
So do check your back seat and then wipe down your back seat. Get your Lysol wipes out and wipe down the back seat. Okay? It's not that I care about their welfare, but you don't always put suspects only in the back seat. Sometimes you do put victims because you got to move them somewhere. And you don't need them getting hepatitis.
Yeah.
So wipe down your equipment. Clean it. You should function check your firearm. Function check your flashlight. How many times... you work days, and then you get sent to nights and you try your flashlight and it's dead.
Yeah.
And you're like, uh-oh, and you got no batteries. Now you're working the whole night shift with no flashlight. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So I have this one right here, but I always kept another Stinger flashlight right here. So I always had 2. Check your gear. Check your taser. Make sure the battery's not dead in your taser. Nothing worse than you flip it on and click it. Fuck.
Or you get the one with the weak charge.
Yep. And
the battery.
Great. Yeah. Make sure your handcuffs so someone didn't fuck with you. We used to do this with each other.
And double lock the handcuffs?
Double lock them. So you go to pull them out and you sit there, wham, wham, wham.
Yeah.
So check your cuffs. Make sure they work.
Yep.
They should freely rotate.
Oh, yeah.
Freely rotate. That's how you know they're working, because eventually these can lock up.
Yeah.
You get dirt in them, you get grease in them, you get sweat in them, whatever.
They rust from the rain.
And they rust them up, and they don't lock, and that's a liability.
Yep.
Let's say you do get cuffs on somebody, you tighten them down too far in accident. We always check for tightness, right? And then you can't get them to open.
Yeah.
You now have a very limited window to get that handcuff off him before you give him severe nerve damage. So now you're calling fire. Get out here with that Sawzall now, because you didn't check your gear.
Yeah.
It should freely. Now, just because it does this doesn't mean the key lock's working.
Yeah,
you
true.
better check the key.
Check everything, yeah.
And make damn sure that it locks and it unlocks. More importantly, it unlocks.
Yeah.
Because when you get them on, just get them on. If they go down real tight, that's fine. That'll be okay for a second. Get the other cuff on. And then when you got the situation under control, get your key out and loosen them up a little bit. Now they're not pinching off a nerve. But people don't think about this. They don't test their equipment. They figure it's always going to work. It's always there. It's going to work for me.
Or it's just, and it's either that or
complacency.
Work the long shift. You just don't got time to check it, or you just don't want to. I'm too tired. But after like some critical incident, it's probably the best time when you should go over your gear.
You should. Just make sure you have everything.
Yeah.
Because you drive off and your magazines are back there, or a pair of handcuffs, or a knife or a flashlight or a baton or your radio. And you should know, I don't have my radio with me. You should know how to use your radio without even looking at it. You should have your channels memorized by clicks. So you know how many clicks to get to the right channel instead of having to pull it out, look at it. You got it right here. Click, click, click. Now, some agencies issue the mics that have, you can see it up here.
That's actually
But most of them, it's there on the radio. Wow. And you got to click, 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 click through it. Know how many clicks it takes. Know how to turn it down. Turn off that, the light on it.
Yeah.
In the dark, you don't want that every time you turn it down, but then someone keys up and still the screen comes on bright. You just highlighted yourself in the dark room. So know how to turn that off. Know your equipment. Do not just assume it's always going to work because it's been there, and it's always going to work because it's there.
Yeah.
That's not how equipment works. Equipment fails. It's made by man, and it fails unless you check it and get it replaced. Don't be lazy. I'm not going to mention this officer's name, but he's never replaced his baton. He has not replaced half the crap on his belt over the last 30 years. All he's got left on his belt now is a radio and a firearm and ammunition. I'm like, okay. Hey, when are you going to replace that baton? I don't need it. I'm about to retire. Okay. Hey, you do you. You know, I can only give you good advice. And you'll do, I've been on 30 years. All right. There comes a point where I've heard that from too many officers. It's like, oh, I've been on too long to listen to you. Okay. All right. And at that point, I can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
You do you. Good luck. And I'll be there to back you up and then yell at you later. So, but he doesn't have a single intermediate weapon on his belt. And I'm like, you have to have at least one intermediate weapon on your belt. Whether it's a taser, a baton, or OC, you have to have one intermediate weapon on your belt. I love him to death, but that one just drives me up the wall. He's a good dude, but that one drives me up the wall. So, but I've seen the equipment malfunctions. I've seen holsters fall off in foot pursuits. I've seen tasers come out. I've seen batons fall out. I've seen radios come off. It does happen.
Yeah,
but if you get the right gear that's made for that, the chances are lower. Not zero, but they are lower. And anytime you have a use of force with somebody, once you have control of them, check your belt. Do I have everything on my belt? Mm-hmm. Your vehicle is equipment. You need to be used to, if you check your car at the beginning of your shift, check all the lights on it, brake lights, the lights on it, make sure they come on, make sure they're visible front and rear. Mm-hmm. Make sure the siren works. Make sure the PA works. And the best way to test the siren is wait till someone walks by with coffee and hit the siren real quick. You're just testing it. I'm not saying I did that. I'm just saying. I loved my PA. Morning. Coffee. Hey, PA works. Make sure it's got fuel. Make sure the tires are okay. Look at the tires on. You're driving on that car and you want to hit 90 miles an hour of a blowout. Check the tires.
Yeah.
Make sure it locks. Make sure the door is locked because you're going to step away from that vehicle and you're going to leave it running like we all do in patrol. We always leave our cars running, always, because there's not a guarantee it's going to restart. Someone's going to walk up, pull the door handle, and, oh my goodness, look at that. Hop in and drive off in your Tahoe or your Explorer or whatever the hell you got in your agency.
And going down,
now they got your police car.
Going down 35 on the radio.
Yeah. That has happened.
Hey, check your radio check.
Yeah. And you're like, identify yourself. That's when the other officer gets on his handheld and goes, erase that radio now. So we have the ability to erase the radios and CADs right over the air.
Yeah.
We have that ability. So we can do that. But we got like 3 GPSs in that car to track the car with. So, but still, they have your car. And if you left your CAD unlocked, they got your CAD, they got your radio. Like, you're gone. So I had to get in that habit of anytime I stepped out of that Tahoe, I just immediately made it a muscle memory to lock it. I knew where lock.
I lock the screen to the CAD, lock the door, and walk out.
Windows L.
Yep.
Lock. And then you're covered.
Yep.
You know, like, hey, you did everything you could to secure that. You know, don't leave your rifle outside of its bracket. Leave that rifle in the bracket. Don't just throw it on the seat. Then we're going to bust a window and snatch that rifle, and they got a city or county or state issued M4. That's fantastic. Great. Mm-hmm. This is wonderful. So keep in the bracket. And the button to unlock the gun lock should not be marked at all. Mm-hmm. You should know what it is. No one else should know what it is.
Right.
So that way, all those buttons, they have no idea which one actually unlocks the weapon. Mm-hmm. And then for our agency, and I think a lot of agencies do this, is patrol ready means the chamber is empty.
Yeah.
So it gives that extra second to rack it, to really think about what you're doing and rack it. And if someone steals it, they're going to turn and go click. And before they get a chance to rack it, you put 3 holes in them.
And even if they rack it, Still unsafe.
It's still unsafe too. So it gives them extra
click.
time to step to the side and maybe ventilate him before he ventilates you.
Yeah.
So leave the guns in the racks. That's why they're there. Check the rack. Make sure it actually works. Make sure it unlocks too. Make sure your rack actually unlocks. Because it's got the same way, which is the handcuff. Yeah, they're rusted. You got the one with the handcuff. So yeah, it goes on, but then you hit unlock and it don't unlock. You're like, oh shit. So you have to open it with a handcuff key.
And that's always uncomfortable.
And that takes forever. So you're not getting that out in a hurry. You might as well write that one off for the day. You don't have it available to you.
Yeah.
So this is all equipment. Some owned by the agency, some bought by you, all of it necessary for your job. Mm-hmm. You don't need all the flashy extra goodies. I do like the light that goes on my shoulder. I do have that for night work where I can turn on red and blues, front or rear or the infrared. Mm-hmm. I have the infrared one where the helicopter can see me.
Yep.
That's a nice little handy piece of equipment. Some agencies are actually starting to issue those. Mm-hmm. Some don't. Some you got to pay for it. But like I said, you got to invest in yourself. It sucks, but one, it's a tax write-off, so write it off. Keep the receipt and write it off. But two, it could save your life. Something inconsequential is what saves your life. You should also have extra handcuff keys. Yeah. You got the one up here. It should be a tactical key about that long. Mm-hmm. But keep a regular key on the key ring in your pocket. Keep another key. And then you should have a hidden one on your belt. Yeah. You never know when you're going to get cuffed with your own handcuffs. You better learn how to get out of handcuffs when they're behind your back. So keep an extra key. And they make them, the little hidden keys that hook to your belt loop inside your belt. No one knows it's there except you. So if you do end up getting handcuffed with your own cuffs because someone got the drop on you, you know you can get yourself out of those cuffs. Mm-hmm. Now, if they do keyway up, you might have a little rougher go, but you can at least try and get it around and get one loose. Right. But always have an extra handcuff. I always carry like 3 handcuff keys on me. And dog tags. I have my old military dog tags because I got my blood type on them. Yeah. And on my armor, my level 4 armor, my outer vest, I do have my blood type. Very visible. Mm-hmm. Because you need to know what my damn blood type is. That's kind of important. And it's big, red. Cops or medics and doctors look for red. Your blood type should be in red. Mm-hmm. So that's, okay, he's A negative, B positive. Whatever the hell he is, that's what he is. Right. Can mean the difference again between life and death. So all these are hard learned, hard fought, hard won lessons. I'm not saying that you have to do, listeners, everything that we talked about. You don't. Yeah. Whatever is comfortable for you. If it works for you, great. We're not here to change what works for you. But if you're just doing something because it looks cool versus it's practical and usable, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not in this job to look like a poster boy for, a model for, police gear. Okay. You're here to enforce the law, and that requires you to put your hands on people sometimes or use force or even deadly force. And you better know how your gear works, and you better know where the hell it's at. Yeah. Because it'll fail you or you won't be able to find it, and you end up getting hurt or dying because you thought it looked cool versus its usability, its practicability. Right. So, my duty belt, just like any construction worker, they have their duty belt, they have their tool belt, it's got their hammer and their screw gun, their screwdrivers or whatever. This is your tool belt. This is the tool belt of your profession. Yep. And this can save or get you killed. It can save your life or get you killed. Yep. So we hope that you guys got something out of this. You notice I never once pulled my sidearm. Not necessary. So why would I do it? Playing with a gun is a good way to get hurt or killed or hurt somebody else or end your career. Guns are not toys. Even with cops, guns are not toys. We're the biggest hypocrites on earth about that. So we wanted to do this episode today because we feel it's very important to, especially for our cop listeners. This one was really geared more towards cops and to some extent security guards as well. Yeah. Know your equipment, have the right equipment for the job. Don't go flashy, because flashy does not mean quality. Okay. It just means that's looks, and that's not what's going to save your life. Or be tough and hang in there. Know your equipment, train with your equipment, practice with your equipment. Again, safety reminder, unload your sidearm before you practice and unload your taser cartridges before you practice. Yeah. That way you don't accidentally wrap off a damn round through the wall or you tase the cat. Okay. So, remember those safety items. All right. Always think safety first. Even in this job, we do a lot of dangerous things, but you can mitigate the dangers by being as safe as you can be. Mm-hmm. It's just do your best. You can't take away all danger, but you can mitigate it. Absolutely. By taking good safety procedures. So I think it's so important, and it just doesn't get talked about. You never hear about it. Once you issue your gear and you're in the academy, and they always say in the academy, know your gear and check your gear, and then you never hear it again. Mm-hmm. And you get complacent. Yeah. And if just one officer ends up getting their life saved because they heard this episode, I consider that a win all day long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're here to save lives, and we're not here to take them. That is the last resort, and not what we want to do. I don't know any officer that wants to take a life, and if they do, then they shouldn't be a cop. Okay, our job is to save lives. You have to take a life to save a life, but none of you should want to do that.
Yeah.
But we want you to save your own life and those of good citizens that you're trying to protect. So know your gear, buy quality gear, invest in yourself, and you'll be okay.
Yep.
Buy crap gear, buy shitty gear, buy flashy gear that's cheap, and you may end up paying for it with your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's that simple. And boy, would you feel stupid if someone told your wife you died because you bought that really, really cool whatever and it turned out to be crap and it locked your gun up or whatever. Don't. So I don't know what else I can add on the subject of equipment unless there's something that you could think of.
All good.
Well, I think we hammered that one pretty good today. So we do appreciate, again, everybody. Please pass this on to your friends. The Running Code podcast available on every podcast. I think every podcast platform. I think now.
Yeah.
It's on our YouTube. We're on YouTube. We also have the podcast on YouTube, the audio as well as the visual. We're trying to work on doing a live. We're trying to figure out how we're going to work that and the logistics behind that, because it's not as easy as it seems to be. It really is not. You have to coordinate a lot of things to do a live. Yeah. And we honestly just don't have the listener base yet to really do that yet, because I don't want to do a live and only got 3 listeners. And we appreciate the listeners, but 3 just it's not cost effective. So we're working on these things, guys. Please be patient with us. Leave comments on our YouTube channel. If they're great comments, we'll read them on the air. If they're really stupid, we'll definitely read them on the air. But if it's anything racist, we're just going to delete it because we're not here to play that game. LGBTQ, you know what? We're not playing that game.
Yeah.
Politics, we're not trying to get into politics here. Okay, this is supposed to be funny. So if it's anything politics, race, LGBTQ, inflammatory, anything about religion, we're just going to delete those because that's unnecessary. No one needs to hear that or see it. But if it's funny and it's stupid, we're going to read it out on the air. Yeah. So you'll get a shout out, just like what was his name? Brandon, I think. Brandar.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? He asked it. We answered it. You know, and I remember growing up being told that no such thing as a stupid question, and I've learned that's not true in law enforcement. There really is stupid questions. You heard them every day. You know, so. But J-Man and I appreciate everybody that listens. Like I said, we don't do this for money. We don't do this for recognition or fame. I've not had a single person that actually recognized me yet, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
But we do this for fun. We enjoy it. We like teaching. We like laughing. We like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's cathartic. It's almost therapeutic.
Yeah.
Like, we felt we had things to say, and now here we have a platform to say it.
Yeah.
And amazingly, we've been doing this a year, and neither one of us has gotten in trouble by our agency, so we must be doing something right.
I know, yeah.
But that's why we're also very careful about what we say. So, from J-Man and I here in South Texas, we appreciate all of you, brothers and sisters. Please watch your backs. Please bear in mind what I said today. If you don't want to change it, that's fine. That's on you. If you do, great. You can drop us a line if you have questions and there's something you want us to clarify, or you had a question, or you like something on my belt you wanted to ask about. I'm more than happy to give out that information. None of this is classified. If it helps you, it helps you. If you see something I could do better, hey, let me know. I'm not against advice of any kind. Only a fool refuses to take good advice.
Yeah.
And I'm many things, but a fool ain't one of them. An asshole, I'm one of those. Not a fool. So I have no problem with good advice. But it all boils down to personal preference. At the end of the day, find what works for you. But think about the logistics of what you're going to do. How am I supposed to utilize this system?
All right.
And then practice it and go, okay, that's not working. Let me try this. Once you find what works, practice with it, practice with it, practice with it. That way it becomes a second nature in a dangerous, stressful, high adrenaline situation. You don't have to think about it. You automatically go right to it without having to fumble for it and look down and then get kicked in the face. So,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
So from South Texas, we are here at Running Code. We appreciate y'all. Have a great week. And brothers and sisters, be safe. Anything to add?
Nope, that's it.
All right, we're out of here.